I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Listen, there's another item in the news. I think it happened this past weekend where Chris Rock broke his silence on the whole matter of the slap that was heard around the world when Will Smith slapped him at the Oscars last year. And everybody was taken by surprise. I was taken by surprise as well. And when that event took place, I wondered why Will did it and what was going on. I had no idea what was going on between the two of them. I thought, all these black folks were together. By the way, parenthetically, leave that evidence that when Will slapped the snot out of Chris Rock, I don't know, a lot of the black actors got up and Denzel Washington got up. He was in the audience. He wasn't as close to the stage as was Will Smith. He got up, and Denzel Washington, and he came and brother, listen, brother, come on now, brothers, come on, brothers. I was wondering where Denzel Washington was playing the part of Lorenzo, remember in Training Day? Or whether he's playing the part of Bumpy Johnson in that gangster movie he played, Bumpy Johnson's protege. Or whether he's playing Eli in that movie, the Eli, Denzel Washington, right? He broke it up. Denzel, come on, brother, hey, brother, we ain't like that. Y'all remember that? Y'all see that? Anyway, let me get back. So Will Smith, you can drop that. Will Smith this weekend, went on a tirade about the whole event. He was dropping the F-bomb, the MF-bomb, everywhere. And he was saying that it hurt him. He didn't like it. The slap was awful and one thing after the other. And one thing, he did slap all that dye out of Chris Rock hair. He got more dye in his hair than they got in Just for Men factory. Anyway, but I think that he went too far. He could have said, okay, he slapped me and I didn't slap him back because I know what to do. I know whether it was whether the people at the Oscars told Will Smith to get up and do that. I know what was a part of the act. I know what the hell was going on. He could have said that because he did. He didn't know. He didn't know whether there had been some of them producers, some of them freaks out there had said, slap it, and then something was going to happen, and then they're going to give Chris Rock a great big Oscar or something. He didn't know. He just let it ride because you didn't know what, you just slap a homie, he pulls out his knife or his gun. Everybody knows that, he's got a knife on him. Chris Rock had a knife or a gun on him, one of the two. But he didn't know. He really didn't know that time. When it actually happened, he thought it was an act. Chris Rock thought it was an act. So he didn't respond. And he had to take some time after he found out it wasn't an act, that he had to get over it. He had to try. But the problem is that I think that Will Smith went too far. Will Smith should not have slapped him. He has since apologized. He's been banned from the Oscars for 10 years. And, he played in that movie Concussions. I don't know if he played Muhammad Ali, for crying out loud, in the, Ali movie with that boy, what's his name? Spike Lee. But I think that Chris Rock, when he started talking about Will Smith's wife and who she was having sex with, I don't think that was necessary. And I thought that was cheap of Chris Rock to do that. Because it wasn't necessary. You didn't need that to make the point. And, to get up and talk about, and unless he was there, unless Chris Rock was there holding the candle and watching it go down, you can't be sure of everything that you hear is true. I think Chris Rock went way, way out there overboard. I think he's going to pay a price for it. In fact, I think what Chris Rock did by talking about Will Smith's wife and the language he used, how vulgar he was in doing it, and how demeaning he was of doing it, I think that he's going to suffer in terms of an audience as well as I think both of them are pretty much dead now. Because he didn't have to do that. He could have said, yeah, the man slapped me. I should have slapped him back, but I didn't know what was going to tell the truth. Chris Rock should have said, I didn't know whether the studio people that put him up to doing that. I didn't know what was going on. And I think that Jada Pinkett, that's what Will Smith's wife, she got some sort of cancer or something? He bald-headed is all outdoors. What's that? She's sick or something? I don't know what's wrong with her. He was saying that he was having problems in his marriage, and so he came up on the stage and took it out on me. I just thought he went too far. And I mean, he was using the F-bomb more than Dave Chappelle, and nobody used the F-bomb with as much charisma and perfect plot. When Dave Chappelle used the F-bomb or the MF bomb, that is poetry. But Chris Rock was using it was like throwing rocks, at a little baby boy. It was just ugly the way Chris was using. I think he went too far, and I think I think Will Smith later apologized to Chris Rock. I think he did, and he apologized to the industry and apologized to a whole lot of other people. I think Chris Rock should apologize. And he's a comedian, so I don't necessarily, but I watch him, I like a laugh every now and then. You can get over the language that they use. But I've heard the language before, so what's the big deal? I don't support it. I don't speak that kind of word. I don't drop the F-bombs. I mean, I may say damn or hell, but I don't drop the F. I don't go down that road. I don't do that. So my take is this, is that I think I think that credible women ought to stand up and tell Chris Rock. I think the Hamite sister, ought to stand up and tell Chris Rock, you ain't got no business putting Jada Pinkett's business out on the street like that. I think people are like, well, I don't know if I have any respect for Beyonce or, I don't know if but I think that there's people like Cardi B maybe, somebody. I think they ought to stand up and tell Chris, you need to you had no business putting that woman's business out on the street like that, because it was embarrassing. It was, if it's true, it's true. I don't know if it's true or not. Maybe it could be. If you ask me, I think it's 99.99999 Herman Cain true. But Chris ain't had no. I think people like Cardi B and Beyonce, they ought to get up and tell Chris Rock, you ought to apologize to Jada Pinkett putting her stuff out on the street like that. And before the whole world, it'd be something else, and to make it a part of a comedy act? Come on, Chris. Come on, Pootie Tang. Come on, Pootie Tang. Your dad ought to take his belt and slap ought to take that Pootie Tang belt and beat you half to death and deny you from ever being able to use Robitussin again, Chris Rock. I don't know. What's that woman that sang Umbrella? What's her name? That got a B and they call her, what's her name? Brianna. Yeah, her. I think all the sisters ought to get together and defend Jada Pinkett. I'm not saying defend Will. Will's a big boy, but I think for pulling the cover off, I say that about, if the women, listen, if the women in the music industry and the arts and entertainment industry, let Chris Rock get away with that. And then the other thing, Chris Rock thinks he's white too, by the way. He gets on to talk about his children. They send them to a white school and all that kind of stuff. But I think if Beyonce, Cardi B, Brianna, and all the others, I just know a few of the big names. There's a whole lot of them out there, that names, they ought to put Chris Rock on notice. You need to apologize, brother. You need to apologize to Jada Pinkett. You're putting that woman's business out there in the street. Well, maybe she and her husband, Will Smith, were having problems. Hell, maybe Will Smith was having sex with somebody. You don't know. How you know? What you know? They're having problems, and you can get up there and make it a part of the comedy act? I think Will Smith has lost his touch. Not Will Smith, Chris Rock. I think he's lost his touch because you would have, you would have known better than that. And I think if the women in entertainment and comedians and everybody, J-Fifth and white and black women, I think if they let Chris Rock get away with that, then they all need to go somewhere and hide. That's what I think. And what I think is always right. I'm James Everett Manning, everybody. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, but I got to do a correction. My media people just got a hold of me after that long tirade on Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. I just got informed by the media staff that Jada put that stuff in the street herself. She the one out there talking about who she was making love to or whatever it is that they were doing. So I have to apologize and offer a correction on that matter. And I can do that. But even having said that, even though she put it out there, then hell, Will Smith ought to slap the hell out of Jada Pinkett. That's who ought to get slapped. First of all, he did it, then put it out there for the world. I mean, come on. And then I think that Jada Pinkett herself ought to be marginalized and not allowed back into the cult of entertainers as well. If that's what she's done. But even having said that, and so I apologize. I was kind of just going off the top here without, I don't know, I don't follow these people as well as but my media people do. So thank God for them. They gave me the correction. But what I further want to say is that, even if she did put it out there, I think Chris Rock should not have, doubled down on it. Because even though Jada put it out there, a person like me who's kind of in the shadows, I don't hear that kind of stuff. I didn't hear it, right? But when he put it out there, because he's a bigger star, they had a bigger microphone, bigger platform, it made it even uglier and nastier, if you ask me. So I still think Will Smith was wrong, even though I do have to apologize for getting that story wrong. I was just kind of ad-libbing there for a while. But everybody's wrong. And why is Will Smith still with her? If that's what she's done. What's going on? What's his problem? What's Mr. Muhammad Ali? What's his problem? What's he? Philadelphia. What's that show he had started? That Fresh. What's wrong, Mr. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? What's his problem? Well, all these people, what they got problems anyway.